Good morning, everybody. It's King Ray Vet, and I thought I'd jump on this morning. It's early Tuesday morning after the Memorial Day weekend, and I hope everybody had a nice rest before we get back in the trenches again. Listen, I called this piece Black Liberation Army, not because there is an army, but because it's quite obvious to me that we got to start this all over again. Um, as I not so quietly look around the country and see what's happening, um, it's obvious to me that we have to fend for ourselves again. That for whatever reason, and I could probably name quite a few reasons, white people are not fighting for us. They only wanted us to fight for them because they are under the impression that fascism is not racism. Racism is not fascism. Fascism is just racism with a different name on it, you people. Oh my God. It's like, can't you look? The fascists that are in control right now are none other than the salty ass Confederate people who lost the Civil War coming back to rain terror on everybody. But notice what they're trying to do to us, which is to quiet our voices, quiet our votes. They know we're the strongest voting bloc, the most loyal voting bloc to the Democratic Party. So they're trying to dismantle us so that you guys are going to be out there on your own. And on your own, you're not really fighting this thing all the way down to its roots. And what are the roots? Racism. These white supremacists are the same people. The fascists are the same people who rained terror on us during slavery and Jim Crow. And now they're taking those practices that they did to us and spreading them out amongst everybody else they don't want in this country. You know, they started with the Hispanics, and now they're starting with other kinds of people. They're definitely starting with black people, but they're doing it in a slick way that keeps the division going. And if you're not a critical thinker, you have no idea that you're being led around by the nose by the same people who started the Atlantic slave trade and drug us over here and brutalized us to help make this country great. You know, it may have been their ideas to do what they did during slavery, but we did the work for free. And without us, this country wouldn't be where it is. By the way, did you know that Memorial Day was started by black people? A bunch of little kids with flowers went around to put them over the graves of the many thousands, if not millions, I'm not sure if it was millions, of people that were lost during the Civil War. They started that. And isn't it funny how, at the same time that they're trying to do what they're doing with the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act, I kind of lost my train of thought. But at the same time, they're doing all of that um, crap. It's what happens when you get old. By the way, I just celebrated 43 years of sobriety and clean time. And I didn't mean to make it such a big ordeal as it turned out to be, because I usually only celebrate it big every 5 years. It used to be every year, and then I don't know why, but I started changing it to every 5 years. So I hit the big 43, and every year I get something that looks like this. I don't want it to shine. Anyway, that's 43. These are the chips, annual chips that we get um, every year. Now, this particular one, I actually buy it. I don't get those in a meeting. In a meeting, they wouldn't look like this. They're kind of bronze and matte colored. They're not shiny like what you see there. But in some places, they'll put my name, my sobriety date on it, and whatnot. But I got clean and sober when I was 26 years old, and I'm now 1 year, a little, and some change away from 70 years old. So that's been a long time. Um, that one day at a time, I've accumulated all of that. But with that came a clearing of the mind. It came a clearing of my soul, a cleansing of my soul, I should say. Now, I've heard people, I saw a guy yesterday. I know this is off topic, but I saw a guy yesterday who was talking about being sober for 5 years with absolutely zero program. Zero. He is trying to stay sober with a therapist. That is not possible. He's setting himself up to relapse. Without a change of heart and a change of mind in a big way, and much bigger than he can get with a therapist, he's nothing but a dry drunk. And meaning, you got the same attitudes, feelings, thoughts, behaviors as you had when you were drinking, except you're not drinking and you act them out without having alcohol in your system. But I got clean and sober in the Bay Area of California. They have some of the toughest sobriety of anywhere in the country. And I have been all over the country, and I've been to meetings in different parts of the country. And I'm telling you, it's kick ass out in California. In fact, there's people running around right now who think they're clean and sober while they're still doing drugs. No, out in California, it was complete abstinence from all mood altering and mind altering substances. I'll say the drug in alcohol is ether. But so anyway, I wanted to say something so bad, but I did not want to puncture his ego, his little ego. God knows that we men, a lot of us, have fragile egos. And I keep bumping into them around this platform. I'm telling you, it doesn't take nothing for me to piss these little motherfuckers off to the point where they, block me and do all sorts of things to try to escape me. Then I turn around and see them in lives because Substack hasn't figured out how to, once you block somebody, they don't show up anywhere, but they will show up in lives even though you block them. Or, yeah, or if they block me, I still see them in the comment section of lives. And these men, I don't know what is going on with this particular brand of human being, but they're so fucking fragile. Um, what did I just do with that thing in my hand? Oh, okay. I've got this little crystal that when I put it in my hand, sometimes it turns hot in my hand, but it has a calming effect on me. So sometimes I paw this thing while I'm talking. So let me go back to this Black Liberation Army stuff. Um, it's obvious to me that we're going to have to fend for ourselves because white folks are not going to fight for us. They will talk. Talk. Talking is not fighting. Talking is just talking. You might even argue a little bit about this. But anti racism is the only way. The only way that white people can prove they're not racist. And anti racism isn't just selling wolf tickets to other white people, it's actually doing things, it's actually learning what it's what it's about. You'll never feel it because you don't experience it, but you can get rid of your apathy, you can get rid of your complicity, you can get rid of a lot of things if you are an active participant against racism. Anything else, you guys are bullshitting. You're being performative. You're not serious about fighting this thing. And you keep thinking it's our problem to solve. How the fuck we going to solve something we didn't create and we're not maintaining? You guys are maintaining it, whether we go along with it or not. You created it, your ancestors created it, and you've been maintaining it all of these centuries. All of these centuries. You have been maintaining it by your silence, by your inactivity, by your reluctance to do anything about it, by your reluctance to fight for us, or fight with us being in the lead. I think that's what happened when this Voting Rights Act thing got overturned. That you've been wondering where we've been, and now that we flew right back into the fight, or jumped into the fight, you guys are standing back on your heels, and I'm wondering why. Oh yeah, you want us to fight for you on your terms, but when it's us on our terms, suddenly you got better things to do. But if you we are some of the strongest people on the planet for what we've endured here and managed to thrive a little bit. Some of us have escaped the grips of racism. We don't get completely away from it, of course, but some of us have wiggled our way and worked our way around it. The best thing I ever did was join the military. And even if there's some black people out there talking about, you don't want to be serving in the white man's army and whatnot. Well, I'm glad I did it anyway. I got skills up the yin yang for my training in the military, and I've got health care. Health care that sucks, and the only reason why it sucks is because I'm black and trans. Okay. So they figure out a way to mistreat me in healthcare, but I've been very fortunate to run into some people, some providers out there within the VA system that absolutely love me. So they kind of insulate me a little bit from the bullshit that other people do, even though I can report things that are going on that is happening to me to the VA, and they treat it like, oh well, we can't make them do what they don't want to do. Really? And you call yourself a hotline? The White House hotline is supposed to be available for all veterans. They have ignored, you know what they do? They're acting like the Better Business Bureau. And they're just writing down the information and then feeding it back to the motherfuckers that are causing problem. They don't do that to everybody. Okay? But every single time I've contacted them, that's what they do. Is they turn around, feed it back to the people who are causing the problem, and what do you think they're going to do with it? Take it seriously? No. I have to jump completely outside and contact this regional office that kind of controls different areas of the state that I'm in, this state and neighboring states, to get through to these people. Making it very difficult to be within the healthcare system because I have needs as an elder in this world. I have needs, and I have better things to do than to fight for my health care when I'm supposed to be getting it. I'm 90% disabled. That means my health care in the VA system is free. But they don't, because I'm not a retiree, I don't get to participate in the TRICARE system of healthcare, which is far, 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 far better than the community care that's just a load of shit and it's very broken. 10 more percent, if I can get it somehow to 100%, then I kick over into the TRICARE system, which is probably why they didn't do it. Even though I'm 90% disabled, um, I get paid as though I'm 100%, but I don't get the benefits of a retiree, uh, which would give me the ability to go back on bases, to shop and get my gas and do a whole lot of other things that are cheaper than civilian life. And so it's been 40, 50 years, 40 something years, I think, since I was able to have access to a military base. So I'm going to figure out how to get the other 10%, but it's a fight all the way. At any rate, so this Black Liberation Army that needs to be developed and implemented, it's going to be well armed. Doesn't mean we're going to be violent. It means we're going to defend ourselves from violence that is getting ready to come down the pike from these white supremacists. Oh yeah, they want to. They are itching to hurt us any way they can figure out how to do it. Um, so yeah, we got to be armed because these people are violent. Their whole tactic is violence. What do you think ICE is? ICE is the old slave patrol, y'all. And you don't want to take racism seriously when that's where all those people came from? What was the Civil War about? I'll wait for people who fucking didn't think it was about slavery. See, you guys will believe a bunch of lies being told to you and never research it to find out if it's true or not. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about this. It was about ending slavery. You can be so stubborn and hard-headed and frustrating to try to educate the masses who don't want to listen. They don't want to believe us. They'll believe any kind of lie that's told about us and then make that the excuse not to support us. That is just so bizarre to me. That's so immature. Who doesn't know the difference between right and wrong? Who doesn't know the difference between a lie and the truth? Who wasn't taught that growing up? And people are acting like they don't know the difference. And they don't know how to figure it out. They just believe, oh, they heard this, and so they believe it. If it's negative about us, they're real quick to believe it. If it's positive, they're reluctant. I am so tired of this fucking place. The games they play. And because we're on the economic bottom of the economy, we're not mobile enough to be able to get up and leave this place. I'm not going to Africa. It's a third world continent. And the way that they treat certain people is even worse than here. So what are our choices? Where would we go? Collectively, they want to get rid of us, but they want to get rid of us their way. They don't want to give us reparations and let us do what we want with the reparations so we can get the fuck up out of here. Oh no, they want to terrorize us. That's their aim, is to get us in a compromising, permanent underclass position, the way that we were during slavery and Jim Crow. And people don't want to, I don't know what it's going to take for the majority of people here, and I'm not going to say moral majority because you're not moral at all, but the majority numbers of people here to fight this, which would also fight fascism, what it's going to take for y'all to get serious about this. Voting is not the only way to stop what's going on here. This week I have an interview with a very powerful Black organization, and I'm not going to say what it is right now. I've already said enough to a couple of people about it that are probably going to do something about this. Now, I don't know if I'm going to pass the interview, but some of the members of that organization are older than I am, because I was worried that I might be too old to join them, but I'm not. So put some good feelers out there in the universe that they will accept me. Broken, body broken, mind a little broken. Because we live in a constant state of trauma in the United States of America with 3Ks. Constant state of trauma. We have to watch our backs at all times. We have to be prepared for things to come out of nowhere, from strangers, from friends, from family, from wherever. We have to deal with that all the time. And shit happens, and then sometimes it doesn't. And when it happens nationally, every single one of us feels it locally. Doesn't matter where you live. If some of us are free, aren't free, none of us are free. If you live in the North and you see this shit happening in the South, you are not free until everybody is free. Go out and read what Mamie Till said when they killed her son. And she paraded him around in a glass casket, showing what white people did to him, to her son, and what she said about thinking that it wasn't their problem if you're living in the North and the bullshit goes down in the South. Yes, it is your problem. All Black people, it is your problem. It can very well happen to you right where you are. You just think you're safer. And a real false sense of safety. Just because they're quietly, covertly racist doesn't mean they're not racist where you live. They're just covertly racist versus the overt racists that are down south. I live in the South now, but I'm not from the South. I'm from the North. And I've got a real good view of what's going on in this country, besides the fact that I traveled around it a lot during my career. I got receipts all over the country, from California to the Midwest, to the East, to the South, to the North. I've been all over the place. And something happened to me in every state I've ever lived in. Something racist happened in every state I've ever lived in. Doesn't that tell you something? You're not fucking safe in the North. I was in this guy named Riggs. I was in his live last night. And there was this Black lady who married a white guy and thinks because she's in Jersey, it's better up there. Move up there to where she is. To me, that's a sign of youth. I haven't been around long enough to see that this shit is stacked wherever we go. It's stacked. We're going to experience it whether we like it or not. Everywhere. This country was founded on racism. Every single one of them motherfuckers you call founding fathers had slaves. It was founded upon this stuff. That's why it's so systemic. That's why it's so embedded in everything that we do. It doesn't matter that we've got a couple of white friends. We're still going to experience this shit because it's wound in every piece of politics and legislation and everything else that there is in this country. It's embedded. Look that word up. It's like spaghetti. Spaghetti and meatballs. The stuff is just wound up all tight and and I don't say that to garner sympathy. I don't care one bit about your sympathy at all. It doesn't matter. Um, if you're not fighting against this, what does it matter that you feel sorry for us? We don't want your sympathy. We could use empathy, but you're not going to get empathy if you're uneducated and you're ignorant about this. If you have no points of reference, if you're not out there looking to hear us talk, to hear what we say, and to heed what we say. If you don't learn about this stuff, you're not going to be effective at all. Like, get out of our way. Don't come in with sympathy. Come up with a plan of how you personally are going to fight this thing called racism, fascism, being implemented by the very same people. The same people. And somewhere along the line, you've bought some of what they've said about us. You know, how many of you like Jasmine Crockett? Do you fight for her? Or do you just say you like her? And she's ballsy and she's smart and she's this and she's that. But that's all you do. You don't. How many of you was writing to politicians in Texas when they pushed her ass out of the way, when they erased her district? All of that. How many of you fought for her? How many of you said anything on her behalf? Or how many of you think she's just entertaining you guys? That is not what she's doing. She's not entertaining people. That sister talks more truth than any black woman I know in Congress. She's tough as nails. But folks are not taking this stuff seriously, you see. They just listen with a great amount of interest, but not enough to fight for her or any of us. What is that about? I want to know. What is that about? Why won't you fight for the very people you wanted to fight for you and your values and your principles and your way of life? Why is it that when we need you, you're not there? Why do we have to tell you how to be there for us? That's part of that apathy crap. Shouldn't have to tell you how. Should not. If you want to know how, go follow some people who have done it without our help. You know, Robin DiAngelo, Tim Wise. What's that third lady that I like to bring up who did the brown eye, blue eye experiment? Shit, her name fell out of my head. But go follow those people and see what they did and how they got involved without us telling them how. If we have to tell you how, then you're just looking for a way out of helping at all, or helping in inefficient ways, ways that really are, they're performative. Go look that word up. I wish I would tell y'all what performative means. I should. Because a lot of you guys um think you're doing something and all you're doing is being performative. Okay, so performative. Relating to the performance of behaviors associated with a particular social role or identity. Performance of behaviors. Performance. It's not your behavior. You're performing that behavior. Okay? Relating to ways of behaving that exhibit a socially acceptable belief, trait, or quality, often making a superficial impression. Superficial? Superficial. Say it with me. Superficial. I'm being superficial. I'm pretending that I'm being anti racist by doing something that's not even effective. Okay, that's what performative means. Look these words up, people. Um, it's just English. Don't make up your own definitions. Look at the definitions that exist for these things, because y'all will lie to yourselves about what you're actually doing.